Hey everyone, my name is Chagala Musinde and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm super excited because today marks my first video and project as a beginner in the world of programming. So the first thing that I would want to do in this case is to import random. So what exactly is random? Random is a module that is in Python which you import. It will enable you to bring in an element of unpredictability. The reason why we are importing random is we want the computer to be able to select a choice at random without us having to prompt it. That, of course, brings in the unpredictability and fun to our game. So, then the next thing we'd want to do is create a variable that stores the input that the user will give in. So because we want the user to be able to give either rock, paper, or scissors. So we use the function input, say input choice, enter choice, and then close the bracket. See, in that case, I had forgotten to close the quotation marks, then close the bracket. So the next thing I want to do is give the computer assign actions to a computer. So because we are playing against the computer, we also want to give the computer a choice, and this is where the import random comes in. So we'll use we'll make a list of the possible actions for the computer. And also for the user as well. So what are the possible actions? The possible actions are rock, paper, and scissors. Then the next thing we need to do is make the computer pick a random action. So out of the three options that we have, we can assign a variable computer action or comp action, as I've done, underscore action is we use the random.choice option, and then we select the possible actions. So basically what this line of code is telling us is computer action. For the variable computer action, it will pick at random using what we imported from we imported random. So it will pick at random between rock, paper, and scissors, because we have passed this argument of possible underscore actions, which is already equals to rock, paper, and scissors. So and then now, before we proceed, I'd like to do something faster so that we don't lose track. So what I'm doing is in Python, when you use the pound sign before any line of code, Python automatically skips whatever you have written. So you can use that to take your notes. So what I'm doing basically is writing out the logic of the game. That rock beats paper, and rock beats scissors, and paper beats rock, and scissors beats scissors cuts paper, or rather scissors beats paper. So once we have that logic, we can then now proceed to writing of the code. So something else I've not explained, as you can see at the end, at the last line of code that I've written is the print, and then if you choose action, computer choose computer action. Basically, we are trying we want the computer to give feedback on what the user has picked, because this is the user input. So we want the computer to give feedback in form of a print statement, what they have picked, and what the computer picked. So then I'll go to my if statements and try and write a block of code that executes only if certain conditions are true. That is what basically what an if statement is. And I've also realized that the word action may confuse me towards the end of this code. So I've decided to change it to player actions so that it also matches the comp action. But you can have it however you want. I think this way I'm able to understand better what the computer. I'm able to understand better what I'm writing as code. So we'll go if player action is equal to, remember this time we're using a comparison operator, so we'll have to use the double equal sign, is equal to I had written this as comp action. So for if statements, you also have to have the colon at the end, and the indentation is very important. So if player action is equals to computer action, then print, we're gonna have to say, so we pass a string, say it's a tie. Let's see, yeah, it's a tie. Both of you chose. It's a tie, both of you. Something like that. The logic is escaping. It's a tie, both players. What do we do? Both players selected, and then now we can pass the player action, and then pass that as an F string, and close the bracket. After we do the if, we can also say elif. Elif is basically just saying else if the player action is equal to rock. Let's see, player action is equals to rock, and what else? And so under that elif, so that we pass if the player, because we're looking at possible scenarios. So if the player selects, the action is the player selects rock, and the computer selects scissors. So in this case, because when you go up there, you can see that rock beats scissors. So then, therefore, we can pass, or we can print a statement that says, um, rock, let's say rock beats scissors, you win. So let's try and run this code to see whether it works. So let's input an option rock. See, you chose rock, computer chose rock. So we have an error here, and the error is a user action not defined. So that means there's something that I've written that, I have seen it. So if the user action is not defined, that means it's supposed to be player action. So let's correct that and see whether the code runs again. Equals to rock with scissors, you win. Okay, great. So now we have a working block of code. So I'm just going to fast forward this section, because what I'm going to do next is, let me just try and run the code again to see. Okay, great. So what I'm going to do next is to fast forward, because this line of code that we have written, since it works, I'm going to copy paste for each and every possible outcome. If the player picks a rock, if the player picks scissors, if the player picks paper, and I'm going to do the same for the computer as well. All right. So, 2 hours later, guys, we've set up our game of rock, paper, scissors, and we've reached a point where we need to determine the winner using if statements. But I was feeling kind of stuck at some point. I was unsure how we should structure these conditions. No worries though. Uh, we'll break it down step by step as I'm doing with the explanations on the edge, just beside the code, the ones that I've written with the hash sign before. First of all, we have to remember that if statements allow us to make decisions in our code based on certain conditions. In our case, we want to check. In our case, we want to check if certain conditions are met for us to determine a winner. For instance, if the user chooses rock and the computer chooses scissors, or if the user chooses paper and the computer chooses rock, or if the user chooses scissors and the computer chooses paper, then the user wins. So yeah, there is our code. We want to try and run this code and see whether it works. So enter a choice. Let's do rock. Rock. You chose rock, computer chose scissors, rock beat scissors, you win. Good. Fantastic. So let's try something else. Let's try paper. Paper, you choose paper, computer choose paper, both players selected paper, it's a tie. Okay. Uh let's try another scenario. Let's try scissors. Awesome. So there you have it, guys. Our rock, paper, scissors game is ready to play. But hey, you can feel free to expand upon this code, maybe add a loop to allow for multiple rounds and improve the user interface. The possibilities are endless. Thank you very much for joining me today as we explore Python programming by creating a simple yet entertaining game. So that's it, guys. Thank you for following the video to the end. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Goodbye.